Bonjour and welcome to the Urban Parle Podcast with your host, Sandra Dubose. I know it's been a little while. You haven't seen me, right? Sandra, where have you been? Child. 2021 is a thing. It has been a thing. So if I can just be honest, I just needed a little bit of time to step away from the podcast and to work on some other projects. And so I've missed you so much. I've had this awesome opportunity to find some partnership and to kind of recalibrate all and this creative ideas about what we have in store for 2022. And before this show ends, I will share more about that wonderful surprise that I have for you. But right now, I have a wonderful guest that I want to introduce to you. His name is Terence Staten, and I'll let him tell you more about who he is. But who he is to me is one of the coolest brothers I've ever met. Legit. He is a cool dude. He is so freaking smart and he's wise. He has a beautiful spirit. How I got to know Terence is through his wife, Tiffany. And she is so talented and she's an author and she was a stage manager for a theater production that I was in. And she and I formed a beautiful connection, which is how I got to meet him. But that's how I formed a friendship with him. And in getting to know him, I realized that he has such a positive voice that really needs to be amplified, especially in times like this. So I asked him if he would come on and if he would share with us. We get into all these wonderful deep conversations. So I said, I gotta have you on the Urban Parlay so that we can share and expand that conversation out into the world. I know that you are going to enjoy him. So Terence Staten, welcome to the Urban Parlay Podcast and tell us more about yourself. Welcome, my brother.
Well, Sandra, let me first say that I am so excited and I am thankful to be a part of the Urban Parlay. I had an opportunity to listen to some of your podcasts last season,
Yes,
and the show is dope.
thank
You know,
you.
I'm old school. I could use the word dope.
Yes, you're very hip.
Yes.
It's
You
very
know,
hip.
some people say, you're getting old, but no, I
Right.
think I'm still cool, you
You
know.
are cool. You're a cool
But
dude.
uh but very excited to be on this podcast. Very
Yeah.
excited to hopefully add some wisdom and some value to your podcast going forward.
Yeah.
Again, everyone, my name is Terence Staten. I am a Washingtonian. I'm from Washington, D.C.
Come on up top.
Uh, yes, yes. It was once Chocolate City. We got some issues going on right now with gentrification, but we are
Okay.
still well represented. I love my home.
Yeah.
Here in Raleigh, North Carolina now. I've been here now for about 8, going on 9 years.
Hmm.
As you mentioned, my lovely wife, Tiffany Staten, we've been married for 21 years. We just
Ah,
celebrated our 21st anniversary last week,
I love that. I so love
two
that.
weeks ago. No, I'm actually in November, November
Mhm.
17th.
Yeah.
So 21 years we've been together. As
Mm.
far as my background, I've been in marketing and sales. I've been in counseling. Right now, I work for a nonprofit 501c3. We are a HUD certified housing agency. Aside of housing, we also work on getting people into homes, also careers, and most importantly is we help get people, with their finances. I think finances is key to everything. So I am a director with Center for Home Ownership and Economic Development. It's the name of our agency.
Yeah.
We've been around since 2004 here in the Raleigh Triangle area, and we are continuing to grow. You know, we're looking to get into the housing development space, and so hopefully as of next year, we will actually be building some affordable housing for those who are in need.
Nice.
So I've been doing that now for about 7 years. It's been a great journey. I've grown, I've seen a lot, and I'm just looking to continue to develop.
Yeah.
So if you are somebody who is in need of financial education,
Yes.
you need to position yourself for home ownership, or if you're looking to start a business, even if you're trying to, get some education on how to start, develop, and grow your business, we have development and training for that. We have workforce development programs. If you're somebody who's looking to transition into a new career, We have a great course line for you there too. So again, we are a very multifaceted agency. We have a lot that we offer. And again, I am so grateful to be a part of the company's journey going forward. So that's
Yay.
pretty much about me. I'm pretty much laid back. I
Yes.
love life. I love people. I love the spirit of community and collaboration.
Yes.
And I hope I can be some value to you moving forward.
Yes, absolutely. And one of the other things that I love about Terrence is that he loves God.
Mhm.
And so, as a man of God, I always feel like he adds, there's the conversations that we have in the natural, but then we can take it a little bit higher and talk about the spiritual development, which is how we got into this conversation that I felt like I really wanted to explore and share that with our audience today. So here we are. It's December 2021. We're getting ready for the Christmas season, whatever holidays you celebrate, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, all of it, right? Some birthday shout out to the Capricorns. Y'all are not my favorite, but whatever. Happy birthday anyway. No, I have some wonderful Capricorn friends. So shout out to all the December birthdays. But we were talking about this reflective state, right? As we come to the end of the year and we think about all of us individually and collectively thinking about what have we learned in 2021? I mean, has it been a year or what? I mean, we really thought coming into 2021 that it would be somewhat different than 2020, but unfortunately, it wasn't that much different, right? We did with the pandemic and everything, we did get to see some forward movement, but we're still kind of in that space, that gray area of as we're moving into this new year, we really don't know what to expect. That puts a lot of people on edge, even me. It's just like, what are we doing? Where are we going with this? But one of the things that I could say that I've learned through this pandemic experience, and I challenge you to think about that. What have you learned? What's one thing? I mean, I'm sure there's been many lessons, but what is one of the things that you've learned through this pandemic experience? Um, but one of the things that I've learned is that we have to keep moving forward. I can say that at the beginning of the pandemic, because we didn't know what to expect, it was very much this pause. Let's just chill. Let's kind of get our bearings. Let's see what this whole thing is about. We got to wear masks. We can't, it was just, we kind of had to wait and see what we were working with. But now we realize that this is a situation that's not moving through quickly. So we can't sit around and wait for it to end. In the midst of it all, we still have to find a way to be productive, to keep life moving forward. And we may have to adjust some things, but the goal is that we continue to do life even in the midst of a pandemic. And so we have to figure out what that looks like for us. One of the really interesting and exciting things that we've seen emerge as a result of this pandemic is people are leaving their jobs, right?
Mhm.
It's the great resignation. I don't know where they're going, but people are like starting businesses, leaving
Yeah.
their jobs. People that were working from home, they're like, I'm not going back into the office.
Mhm.
It's hell to the no, no, no. I like working at home and I'm not,
Absolutely.
it's like it really woke us up to see that we have options. We can do life differently. It does not have to look just that one standard way that we had come to know. And it's really opened everybody up in their own way to say, what's important to me? Who am I anyway? What do I want out of my life? And it showed us that we have the power to create the experience that we really want to have. Everything is possible. Working remotely, starting your own business, it's forced us to come out of our comfort zone and explore our own selves in a brand new way. And so Terrence and I got into a conversation about 2022. I'm like, bro,
Yes.
what's your goals for 2022? What we doing? And one of the things he was talking about is that he doesn't do resolutions, the typical my New Year's resolution is that by the first quarter of the year, I'm going to lose 30 pounds and all of these different things that we commit to, which for some people can be a great goal setting opportunity. And maybe that is the thing. Having that date on the calendar is the thing that really drives you towards success of your goal. Some people that might work. For many of us, after the first week of January, we forgot what we said we was gonna do. so, so what we talking about, right? But deeper than that, we have to start to look at what are the things that are really prohibiting us from achieving those goals. And so, Terence, talk a little bit about what we started to open up in terms of this detox of 2021 and not being able to really move forward into the new until we clean up the old. Can you talk about what your thoughts were about that?
And the key word you said is detox.
Yeah.
I want people to understand that it's okay to have declarations and resolutions and all these things, goals going into, the next year. There's nothing wrong with that. But the question I have is it realistic?
Mm.
If you're somebody that do this every year, you have all these declarations and resolutions. I'm gonna lose, like, Sandra said, I'm gonna lose 30 pounds,
I am going
you
to lose
know,
that. I'm going to do
and it's
it.
okay. But what happens when you don't hit that mark?
Mm.
Oftentimes, we set these goals, these
Yeah.
very lofty goals,
Mm-hmm.
and when we don't meet them, our momentum is gone.
Mm-hmm.
We become depressed because we didn't meet our mark.
Yeah.
We're putting all this pressure on us, on ourselves to perform
Sure.
because we have not hit the mark.
Yeah.
So my principle is let's look at detox.
Yeah.
Let's take what we've learned from the year prior, all our successes, our mistakes,
Mm-hmm.
reflect on our mistakes, and now it becomes adjustment. What adjustments do I need to make going into the next year?
Right.
Because there are some things that you've done quite well,
Mm-hmm.
and there's some things you didn't do so quite well, and
Right.
that's okay
Right.
because life happens,
Right.
right? But life has always been about the adjustment, not the declaration.
Mm.
So what I would say to you is, if you're somebody like me and you think like me, what is the new adjustments I'm going to make going into 2022,
Mm-hmm.
right? We
Right.
use the word detox. Detox is another way of saying that we're going to prune all this, we're going to purge, we're going to get all that stinky thinking
Yeah.
out of us.
Right.
We're going to get all these mistakes.
Right.
We're going to get all the bad relationships that we have,
Mm. Yeah.
right? We're going to seek healing in areas that's going to put you in position to be the best you.
Right.
So that starts when you lead by adjustments. Let's
Yeah.
talk about adjustments. And once we know what those adjustments are,
Yeah.
then we can properly detox. And then you feel a whole lot better about your situation as you're going into
Right.
the new year and also throughout the year.
Right.
And so that's what we were talking about, just properly defining reflection, adjustments, and
Right.
detox
Yeah.
going into the new year.
Yeah. And one of the things that we started to talk very candidly about is relationships, right?
Mm,
And I just want to pause for a second because I had the opportunity, just a little recommendation. I have no connection to this movie, but it is something that I ran across and I thought, this is good. I want to share it with you. There is a movie on, I think, Amazon Prime. It's called Emotion 2.0. Now,
okay.
for some people, it might be a little, I don't know, kooky or hoity-toity. I mean, but for people like me who are open to new ideas, you know,
Hmm.
perspectives, it's something that you kind of say, huh, I'm always exploring different
Hmm.
people's belief systems, right? So Emotion 2.0, but basically what it was talking about is how we energetically, it's like 90%, I wrote it down, it was like 90% of our lives is subconscious in terms of our thought process, right?
Hmm.
We're not fully aware of the programming. And so because we might be holding these belief systems, whether we're conscious of it or not, it is informing the way we show up in the world, what we expect, what's happening in our bodies, and what we're creating and or repelling from our lives, right? And so when we talk about cleaning up this detox, it's also cleaning up those thoughts, those relationships, and it forces us to really look at what are the relationships in my life showing me about me? Am I happy in those relationships? What am I learning, through those relationships? Are they mutually beneficial? And so sometimes, it's like doing that deep dive. You really can't get to your next until you really figure out where you truly are right now. So the challenge is really to take this deeper assessment of where are you. So for example, if I say to you, if you're saying to me, I want to make more money, I want my business to be blessed, and then I say to you, well, what are your true beliefs about money? Like you've always had this blockage, you can't certain seem to get past a certain point in your business. What is really happening there? Could it be that there are some deep held beliefs about money? Maybe
Mm,
you are self sabotaging your business. Maybe
it's
you
good.
need to believe bigger. Maybe you need to have greater faith. Maybe it's something that's happening inside of you that you really need to heal and shift in order for you to be able to reach that next level. And so that's part of this detox process. And so when we look at the different areas of our lives, our financial life, okay, what's happening in your finances? Is your credit jacked up? I mean, we've got Terrence. He's got programs. We can help you, right?
Absolutely.
We could get you into some classes and some, I mean, at some point, let's just talk about finances a little bit. You know, finances, I heard a pastor, I think it was a pastor, but someone once said, like, if you want to know where your values are, let me see your bank account. Where are you really spending your money? And then I could tell you what's really important to you. And so sometimes, especially those of us, when you get backed into a corner with your finances, if you're experiencing a lot of debt, and a lot of challenges in that area, a lot of times, and I know I've been through this. Oh my God, I'm like a recovering debt person. Thank God that I've been able to get my life out of that rut. But it was so embarrassing. We think about the emotional toll that debt and all of that has on you, how that feels for you. You're embarrassed about it. You don't really want to even look at it. It's really easy to put your head in the sand like an ostrich and say, I don't want to deal with it. When the bills come in, you tuck them away. I don't even want to open it because it could be so overwhelming and you can't figure it out. And sometimes you just want to kind of ignore it and not pay attention to it. And I'm just using finances as an example, but that same behavior shows up in other areas of our lives. And it's not until you sit down and you tell the absolute truth, you open up the mail, you look at the bills, you write down what you've been spending, you look at your account and you see that you spent $200 in Starbucks this month.
Mm,
Like, come on, what are we talking about? Like, did I legit? You kept swiping. You had to have that tall caramel macchiato.
mm.
You know what I'm saying? It makes you feel good. I deserve this. Swipe, swipe, swipe. And then it adds up. And then you're at the end of the month, like, yo, how much did I spend in that? Going back, and this is the kind of thing that we're talking about. Take a look at yourself. When you look at your money and you see, I have someone that I know who smokes marijuana, and that's your business. But I said, how much would you say that you spend a month in marijuana? Because it makes you feel relaxed, it helps with your anxiety. And this person said $440 a month because
Mm.
they go see their connect every 2 weeks and they spend $220 every time they get paid. They put it in a budget, right? That when I get paid, I go get me $220 worth of the stuff that I need to last me. Now that's you're talking about $440 a month on something like that. Think about where that money could be going. Then you telling me you ain't got no money? You mad because you broke? Really? What you doing with your money? You know what I'm saying? So these are the truths that we have to begin to look at for ourselves and see what's driving me and how can I begin to do things differently, because you setting goals for 2022 mean nothing if you don't clean up the problems in 2021. What are your thoughts about that, Terrence? I know I just let me get off my soapbox, but you know how I get excited about that thing. But go ahead.
No, you are excited and you're well within your right. Think about finances, and I thought you raised some great points. The key
Hmm.
word that I pulled out from that was behavior.
Behavior.
You know, your behavior oftentimes dictate your ability to plan effectively for your money.
Right.
And sometimes your behaviors are motivated by how you feel about yourself.
Come on.
If you're somebody who always feel like externally you have to look a certain way. You have to continue to
Keep up
appeal
with the
to people's
Joneses.
senses or keeping up
Right.
with the Joneses. And so
Sure.
you would spend a lot of your time and your money
Yeah.
on perfecting the external of yourself.
Right.
But internally, you're still dealing with a lot of emotional turmoil that you haven't quite, got counseling for, or you haven't quite got healed from. Maybe
Sure.
you think you're ugly, maybe you think you're fat, maybe you think you whatever.
Yeah.
But a lot of times, it's that behavior,
Mm-hmm.
those emotional behaviors, as I mentioned earlier, stinking thinking,
Stinking
you
thinking.
know,
Mm-hmm.
gets deep into your wallet. You
Yes.
start spending on stuff that you really don't need,
Yeah.
but you tell yourself, well, this gonna make me feel good right now, or this
Mm-hmm.
gonna make me look better,
Right.
or I'm gonna be able to get this girl, I'm gonna be able to get this man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? If I appear as though that I have more money than I really have, so now you're spending your whole income check for the
Right.
week on a
Yeah.
date.
Yeah.
And that's in addition to
Yeah.
what you already spent on your outfit.
Yes.
So
Right.
I remember Sandra coming up in DC going to the club,
Back in
and
your
this
day, Mr.
back in
Mar
my day,
Mr. Married over 20 years. I mean, what happened
yeah,
back in your day?
in the '90s,
Okay.
this is when hip hop was at its finest.
Yeah.
This is when you had Bad Boys real hot.
Yes.
Lil Kim and Big
Right.
and all them guys,
Yeah.
and Gucci was the thing. Everybody
Okay.
wanted to wear Gucci.
Right.
So you can imagine what Gucci costs,
Right.
but guys was wearing them.
Yeah.
All so that they can go to a club no
Mm-hmm.
more than 2 hours to impress a female.
Right.
So you can imagine how much money they spent on the clothes, the alcohol, and just profiling.
Were
two
you
hours.
guilty of that too? I mean, come on,
No, I
tell all.
wasn't.
Oh.
No, I wasn't. I never believed in that. No,
Okay. He said, no, I
no.
wasn't.
Look, that
You didn't
that
have
was
no
not my
Gucci belt.
struggle.
Okay.
I'm a fashionable guy,
Yeah.
but I believe in deals.
Okay. Right. Right. I know that's
You would
right.
never hear me spend $1,000 on a Gucci shirt.
Right.
I'm sorry, I
Not
can't
gonna
do it.
happen.
It's not gonna happen.
Got you.
But the point I'm making is, and you said another word I thought was key,
Mm,
is how we condition. You know what I'm
condition.
saying?
Yeah.
DC was a very status quo town. Everybody was about the outside,
Mm-hmm.
being, fashionable,
That's city
being
life. Mm-hmm.
city life,
Yeah.
and so
Yeah.
as you say, keeping up with Joneses,
Yeah.
the Joneses. I'm sorry. So,
Yeah.
that's how we were conditioned. We were competing against each other. We were individuals,
Right.
you know. And so as we get older in life, as we have kids, as we grow in our spiritual and we have all these newfound principles in life, we go back and we realize, what the hell was I thinking about?
Right.
Can't believe I did that.
Right.
What's going on with me? And I ain't even get the girl.
Yeah. Right. All I got is these nice shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the guy I went out with, shoot, he ended
Yeah.
up being a jerk, and I done sat here and spent,
All this money.
$400 on my hair,
Sure.
just
Yeah.
stuff like that. So
Sure.
it's really a mental emotional thing. I think if you could really sit back and do a self inventory on yourself and just be blatantly honest with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Why do I have to do this? Why am I doing
Doing
this?
these
Is this something
things.
that I picked up,
Yeah.
from the environment I was raised in?
Okay.
Is this something that's been passed down? Is it something that's like a revolving door that I
Mm.
need to cut short? I mean, it's so many different things that ties into the action.
Yeah.
That's just the byproduct. We
Right.
got to now get to the root. So when I'm doing these financial education classes,
Hmm.
yes, I am looking at it from the lens of what you're doing with your money, but I'm also looking at it from the mental,
Yeah. Your
right?
relationship to your money.
Right, your process.
Mm-hmm.
What is your mental process when you spend money? If you have, and I have these conversations with my mom a lot.
Okay.
And my mom is like, she's that person, if I hit the lottery and I do this, what would you do?
Okay.
Right? Because her
Mm-hmm.
whole thing is, and I keep telling mom, I don't think you content here in Raleigh. I think she wants to move back to DC. But
Okay.
because DC has gotten so expensive,
Yes.
she's thinking lottery.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
if I hit the
This
lottery,
I'm out of here, right?
I can go back to DC and get the house I want.
Right, right, right.
you know,
Exactly. Yeah.
so I'd be like, well, mom, let's think that through. Let's unpack that for a second, right?
Mm-hmm.
Realistically, what happens if you don't hit the lottery? Does that stop life? Does that end life for you?
For you, sure.
There's other things you can do with your money.
Mm-hmm.
You can get into investing your money in
Right,
real estate, stocks, whatever that looks like,
right,
right?
right.
But take the money that you're bringing in now, have a realistic portfolio, and then perhaps you can position yourself a couple of years from now to get the house you want.
Yeah.
So if you compare that to the time that you're waiting to hit the lottery, which is a crapshoot,
And the money that you're spending.
and the money you're spending for the ticket, I
Because
said,
you
Mom,
gotta be in it to win it. You gotta be in it to win it now.
if you add up how much money you
Money.
spend annually on those lottery
That's
tickets,
it. That's it. That's the
and
money.
then and look at this, and then
Right.
when you hit,
Yeah.
you're only paying yourself back if that.
You breaking even.
You're
Right.
breaking even. So
It's
again, it's the mental, it's how
the
you
mental.
process, it's how you think it.
It is.
Think it through. So the thing of it is, I tell mom is you
Mm-hmm.
got to get away from that lottery. Forgot the
Mentality.
term they called it, but it's actually a name for it.
Uh-huh.
And I said, that lottery hustle, man.
A lottery
Um,
hustle.
it's a lottery. Oh, mom has a science. She has a process. She has a routine.
Has she ever won anything? Has she
She
ever won big?
wins. No,
Okay.
she hasn't won the big one yet.
Not
Oh,
the
trust me, if she won the big
big
one,
one.
she'd be up in DC right now.
Okay, got you. Got you. I think,
but
yeah, I
mhm,
think I think it's interesting that you said that. And I was just really because you said mom is in Raleigh where we are,
mhm.
but she's a Washingtonian as well, right? Was she
Well, actually, she was born and raised from here, state of
okay,
North Carolina. She actually moved to DC and
okay,
had me. So I'm born from DC, but she's from here in North Carolina.
okay, but she wants to go back to Washington.
Yes.
Got you, got you. And it, like she said, it is very, very expensive. And I think it's really interesting when we talk about. I just finished reading Will Smith's new book, right?
Mm,
Which I absolutely loved. So I another recommendation. Okay, so we've got the movie Emotion 2.0, and now we've got Will Smith's book, which is I think it's just called Will. And
I
I
saw that.
it was wonderful. And I would even say listen to the audiobook because he's narrating and he's funny and he's rapping and he makes it really entertaining. So I very, very
Hmm.
much enjoyed it. But one of the things that he said in his book was he was talking about when he moved from Philly to LA. And he said that picking the city that you live in is just as, and I'm paraphrasing, is just as important as picking your life partner.
Hmm.
And this is something that really kind of came to me recently because I personally have been kind of going through my own, where do I want to be? Is this, because life changes, right? When we talk about this pandemic and all of the things that it brings up for people to really, like we're talking about, take a deep dive, reflect and look at where you are, where do you want to be? Well, then that means that everything is on the table. Are you in the right job still? Does that job still feed you? Are you in the right relationship? Whether it's friendship, whether it's romantic, does it still serve your highest good? Is that who you are today? Are you even in the right city or in the right industry? Let's consider all of those possibilities. So for me, I started to think about where do I want to be? And for him to say, that where you live is just as important as your life partner. It is because you get into like the dynamic and the culture of that city. Does that energy feed you? Or is kind of being like, imagine if we all moved to like Alabama or some like, racist town, you know what I mean? That it was like, we would be miserable. Like, I got to get out of here. The mentality of the people, the energy, the vibe, like, hell no, this is not where I want to live. This energy, it does not feed me. It doesn't speak to me. And so we have to think about maybe that's something that, if you need to a shift in your life, maybe it's about your external environment as well. Maybe I need to uproot and plant myself into different soil, because sometimes when we find that we're not growing, when we're unable to achieve the goals that we really set out for ourselves, maybe we're trying to invest in ground that is not fertile for us. And
Mm,
it's the possibility of considering, am I strong enough, am I brave enough, and do I have enough faith to repot myself in a bigger pot, in different soil, and see if there's an opportunity then for the growth that I know that I have the potential to have, to emerge in different soil. So I just wanted to put that out there, because I hear mom when she's like, I want to go back, and those are some of the challenges. Our heart may be saying, you belong here. This is the vibe that you need to be in. But our finances might be saying, girl, where you going?
mm. Right. It's always about the finances.
Seriously, the reality of it, like, oh, so what am I eat when I get there? Where am I gonna live? What am I gonna do? Which is a very frustrating thing. So as you are thinking about all of these things, I encourage you, think about that as well. And especially those relationships. And I know that one time we were talking, Terrence, and we were talking about having unhealed relationships,
Mm,
right? Which really brought us to that detox. And one of the things in the movie, just a little bit of a spoiler, it's a character who, they were talking about this, the breakdown of being hurt in relationships, which we've all had our share of heartbreaks and experiences. We're grown, we've been through some stuff, right? But have you really healed that? So for example, I have, I've shared on the podcast before that I'm divorced. I was married for 21 years. And so, for anyone who's been through a divorce or breakup after a very long term relationship, it's a healing process. I don't feel like everyone takes the time to fully heal. A lot of times we jump into new relationships without fully healing from the last one, which then shows up in that new relationships. But that's another story. That's another podcast. However, um, but that is my experience, right? And so what the movie was talking about is that if you don't heal up those things, those emotions, if I'm holding on to anger, if I'm holding on to unforgiveness, if I'm holding on to a general distrust of men because I have been betrayed or lied to or whatever, and I'm holding that subconsciously in my mind but energetically in my body, when I meet someone, even though with my mouth I may say, I want to be in relationship, the energy that that individual is going to pick up from me is something different. It's like that repellent. What's like there's an aura, there's a vibe, there's a something that makes them say, that kind of spills out in the cracks of the little things I might say, slick out my mouth, even indirectly, those type of things. And so then you wonder, why can't I bring this relationship into my life, this loving relationship that I say that I want? And maybe it's because you haven't healed fully your heart from the last one. So I just want to put that out there, right? When we're talking about that. So it's showing in the movie, it shows this character basically cleaning that up, doing the detox, the emotional detox that we're talking about. And then you can see her vibe is different. She's showing up when she goes out. The men are looking like, yo, what's that? She's got this glow, like, and it's attractive, right? Because it's not just all just so tangible. It's a vibe. It's that energy when you walk in the room. So, you know, think about the relationships that you need to clean up, whether it be your family, whether it be, romantic relationships, whatever that is. What relationships do you need to really work on detoxing so that you can move into healthier relationships? Thoughts on that,
mm.
Terrence?
Well, you said it all. I think about Solomon in the
Hmm.
scriptures.
Didn't I tell
And,
you he was a spiritual man? Come on with the word.
Solomon, if it's one thing that he prayed for and asked from God, was a heart of wisdom.
Okay.
And you have to have wisdom about yourself. Do you feel safe in you? Or do
Safe
you
in
feel
you. Is that what you
like
said?
you're on fickle territory? You kind
Mm,
of go as the wind. You're kind of all over the place with your
yeah.
emotions mentally
Yeah.
because you can't be sporadic in your movements. You got to
Okay.
be still.
Mm,
And so when we talk about detox, that's one of the principles that I believe one need to have is just being still.
mm,
Hear, what the spirit is saying to you. Because again, I use the word pruning things out of your spirit
sure.
from one year to the next, getting rid of some things, some toxic energy. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
you've been flowing on low frequencies for a while. Maybe you have
Mm,
trust issues because you've been burnt, you've been hurt.
yeah.
You have all of these negative experiences surrounds you to the
Yeah.
point where now you just cold. You
Mm,
calculate it. You don't open yourself up. You have
yeah.
defense mechanisms all over the place,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
So I think the key thing is that how do we get safe again? How do we begin to be free just to be who we are? Well, it
Exactly.
starts from loving yourself. And loving
Mm,
yourself is doing what it takes to get healing. I say on another podcast last year,
mm-hmm.
I said, we as Black people, our problems are so convoluted and it's so complex.
Yeah.
We have so many issues because of everything that has been done to us, things that we see in media as a
Yes.
Black male.
Mm,
I have to be very conscious of what I say, how I look, how I present myself.
sure.
Oftentimes, I have to be a chameleon. I have to mirror back who's in front of me if they don't identify with the same color as me.
Mm,
So we're always under that microscope. We've
yeah.
always having to be somebody other than who we truly are.
Wow.
But somewhere along the ways, we don't work on who we are. We still have some baggage.
Yeah.
We still have some pain. We still have so much going on inside of us.
Sure.
And so when we talk about detox is that process, right? Where you're peeling back the layers and you're saying, well, how did I arrive here? How did I get here? You
Mm-hmm.
know, I was at one time in my life, I was this person. Now I'm totally opposite of who I once was. So
Right.
when you talk about Sandra, and this is so good,
Mm-hmm.
when you talk about relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
The one word that I want to put in that is significance. Are you putting your significance in that relationship? And
Hmm.
maybe you're not getting from that relationship you anticipated. Maybe it's worse off than what you thought it would be, and it's affecting you.
Right.
You love this person, you
Sure.
want to be with this person,
Right.
but maybe you have too much significance in this person. So when that person rides low or high, you ride high or low.
Mm.
You kind of in sync with that person
Their
as opposed to
energy.
being your own person.
Ooh. Wow.
So now we have a transference
Mm-hmm.
of
Energy.
very negative, low energy. That
Yeah.
now you harboring that same energy. Now you feeling some kind of way and you just don't know why you feel that way.
Wow.
So a lot of times what I do is I journalize. I
Okay.
really journalize my thoughts. I always start with scripture.
Okay.
And, I allow that scripture to just soak in, and I think about the scripture and how it applies.
Mm-hmm.
Right now I have a scripture, if you don't mind, it's real
Please.
quick and easy.
Yes, we need that. Bring it on.
Yeah, and it says, and I just had it. Here we go. So Proverbs 28:26 said, those who trust in themselves are fools, but those who walk in wisdom are kept safe. So now
Mm.
I have to really look at myself and say, okay, well, when you say I'm trusting in myself, then a lot of times I can lie to myself.
Mm. Yeah.
I can say that everything is good when it really isn't.
Yeah.
I can say
Yeah.
I'm happy knowing I'm not.
Right.
When you talk about, hey, am I in the right job? Is this really something I want to do for the rest of my life? Well,
Right.
because I'm making good money, yes, but no, not really.
Right. Right.
I'm trusting a lie because I know I'm lying to myself, but yet
Mm.
I'm accepting that lie because on some levels it's paying off, but it's not really what I really want.
Sure.
But wisdom say, no, stop lying to yourself.
Okay.
Wisdom says you don't like this job. Wisdom says this is a toxic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Can I keep it real?
Come on, please, please.
Even if the sex is good.
What? I don't know about
People
all of
think
that.
because the sex is good is worth the relationship. No, it isn't. If
No, it
look,
isn't. Yes,
if you
Lord have
are
mercy.
unhappy,
Yeah.
right? I always say, does your cons outweigh your pros?
Right. That's
And
always,
if
yeah.
it does, don't make agreements with yourself that I can work this out, knowing you really can and you shouldn't. So there's safety in wisdom.
Yes. I love that you said that. I'm writing that one down. There is safety in wisdom.
There is safety in wisdom. The question is, ladies and gentlemen,
Mm-hmm.
young men and young girls, do
Mm-hmm.
you adhere to the wisdom? That's the question. Because the spirit is always willing,
Yeah,
but it's the physical that has to align with the spirit.
that part.
And so
Yeah.
a lot of what you said, Sandra, was great. If I
Yeah.
had to add anything to it, that would be my stance on it. But that's
Yes.
what I think of. Because, Sandra and I, we were talking
Hmm.
about, well, what should we talk about? What should be the first thing that we talk about going into?
Because there's so
And
many things we want to talk about.
Sandra was like, well, I don't want to do the typical,
Right.
okay, guys, let's talk about declarations and,
Right. Right.
all this stuff for the new year. We don't want to be stiff and boring.
Sure. We want to keep it real. We want to
We
have
want to
deeper.
keep it real.
Yeah.
So what I said to Sandra, I said, well, we can talk about that, but
Mhm.
bring it from a different angle,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because COVID, if it's one positive thing that I can take away from COVID,
Okay.
is that it slowed everything
Down.
down.
Yeah.
And people had an opportunity to come up for air
Mm.
and really evaluate what is going on around them, what is
Right.
going on within them.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
some people didn't like what they saw.
That part.
We have couples that didn't make it.
Yeah. Oh
We've
yeah.
had married couples that divorced
Yeah.
because
Right.
they stuck in the house with each other and they didn't like what they saw.
They couldn't run from their partner anymore.
They couldn't run, they couldn't hide. They
And
in your face.
absolutely.
Some of them want to give away their kids, but you know
Yeah.
what? No one is trying to take them.
Right.
So they
That's
stuck with the
right.
kids.
You said you at least stuck with the kids, but you I could get rid of. The kids I gotta keep.
Right. But what's so sad,
Yeah.
Sandra, is that many people committed suicide.
Okay. Talk about that. Yeah.
Many people got depressed
Oh yeah.
and they lost hope, they
Hmm.
lost faith, they lost their loved ones, their
Mm.
jobs, their homes,
Oh yeah.
so these are things that are real. I mean,
And
it's really in your face
and still happening. We're
and
still,
still happening.
that's the thing. We're still in it. We're still in it.
And so a lot of people don't want to slow down because they don't want to associate with that pain that comes with it,
Hmm.
which is really another defense mechanism,
Totally.
avoidance.
Absolutely.
Always keeping busy.
Always.
Can't be by yourself. You got to be with somebody.
Yes. Yeah.
But God is slowing things down. One, so that you can check back in with Him. That's
Yes.
that's number one reason.
Mm-hmm.
Is bringing you back to Him. We are in the final days.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that we're witnessing right now, not gonna get too
Sure.
spiritual,
Sure.
but what we're witnessing right now is the natural preceding the supernatural. There's a supernatural thing going on as well between the
Sure.
good and the evil. There is a battle for you, your
Yes.
mind, your spirit. And so we can't afford as people to get so caught up
That we
in the
miss it.
gossips,
Yeah.
you know, the self-defeating type things that we hear in our music, our movies,
Yeah.
all the things that we're learning in school is kind of been watered down. There's just a lot of things right now that's attacking your spirit
Yeah.
demonically.
Yes.
And if you're not aware of what's happening to you and what's going on around the world,
Right.
then you're going to miss the mark. So I always tell people that look at you going into the new year from a different perspective. That's
Perspective.
why I said let's redefine some words that we've been conditioned and programmed to use.
Sure.
Declarations,
Mm-hmm.
resolutions.
Resolutions, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
No,
Yeah.
let's talk about adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
What adjustments do I need to make? Am I rushing to
Okay.
do something that's not in my wheelhouse to do right now?
Or my season.
Is it your season to do?
Yeah.
I tell somebody the other day, look, these are great opportunities,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not for us right now. And
Yeah.
then oftentimes we get so impulsive and
Mm-hmm.
move on something because we think it's a great idea, we can make a lot of money,
Or we're competing with other
or
people.
you're competing, right?
Right. Right.
And
Social
then all of a
media,
sudden,
social
go
media
ahead,
will
yeah.
make you feel like you're failing, like everybody else is achieving. So you have to hurry up because you want to make sure that you have something to post too. Look, people, I'm doing stuff. It's like, turn it off.
Oh, the Kardashians make me sick. People be like, Terrence, why you hating on the Kardashians? It's what they represent.
That's what they represent.
Everything is great. They got
Right.
all this money. They can buy
Yeah.
mansions all over the world. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? They got the latest car, the best
Latest,
outfits.
the best Botox and Brazilian butt lifts, everything.
Yeah. I'm just like, you know that's not the real world
Life.
though, right? Not
Yeah.
not everybody living that lavishly, you know what I'm saying? But
Sure.
here we
Yeah.
are.
Here we
You
are.
know, the Kanye West. Oh yeah, I spent $50,000 on dinner. Like,
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
so we live in that culture and
Mm-hmm.
it's unhealthy because as you said, competing. We
Yeah.
always competing against other people,
Mm-hmm.
to prove what exactly.
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
know what I'm
And
saying?
I'm going to interject here because I just wanted everyone to get a taste of what you can expect, because one of the things that I decided would be really helpful for this Urban Parlay podcast and these level of conversations is to balance it out with that male and female energy and perspectives, right? And so what I've asked Terence to do was to be my co-host. So in this next season in 2022, you will see a lot more of Terence Staten because I've only got the Sandra Dubose perspective, but he brings a whole nother element, which really kind of helps us to balance out to hear different perspectives. We're going to, in this world that we're in right now, just like touching on what Terence is talking about, we don't want to get too deep or too spiritual because everybody has different belief systems. However, it is time for us to stop being so surface and to be so shallow and being so caught up. Our intention is that we can be a voice that you can listen to that will impart something in your spirit and in your mind that will cause you to wake up, and not only wake up, but to rise up, because we really need to get to a whole nother level of consciousness, because if you're paying attention, we are falling asleep at the wheel. We have been lulled to sleep by the world and the devices of the enemy that have kept us kind of going into, the things that are happening with our social media that are subsequently impacting our young people in the next generation. We don't have time to be asleep at the wheel. We have to wake up, especially as people of color. We got to start to pay attention to what's happening. We got to start to take a stand. We have to start first paying attention to ourselves as individuals and then shifting collectively. I know that it gets overwhelming. When I watch the news, I see the foolishness that's happening on social media, and we can get really discouraged and frustrated and be like, what is happening? Where is this going? Like, it's like a train that has derailed. Is there anybody in that caboose driving this train? And I'm here to tell you, yes, that would be you. And that would be me. And so it's for us to get back into a space where we are, as the village, we're having more deeper, higher vibrating conversations about the things that are really important. We don't have time to talk about the Kardashians and spending all our energy on what the celebrities are doing because they live a different life than we do. They signed up for something different. But for those who are living ordinary lives, we're just trying to take care of our family, fulfill our purpose in life, stay healthy, be happy, be balanced, and have a life where God will be pleased with us. More simple than that. We don't have time to be worried about what they are doing, because we have to make sure that our lives, we're creating the quality of life that we really want to have, because we do have to figure out what are we going to do about the rate of suicide and depression rising. What are we going to do about our kids and the fact that they are the ones who are a big number in terms of the suicide rates and the depression and all of those kind of things? How are we going to get back on track? Those of us who are 40 years and older, and we remember the good times, the good old times that me and Terence like to talk about. The 90s, we had that structure of mommy and daddy and those values that were instilled in us that don't exist so much in our world. They're being watered down, and we have to begin to pull it back in the ways that we can. So we want to be that voice. We want to be able to have a different level of conversation where we can go just a little bit deeper, to wake ourselves up, to invigorate ourselves, to bring that power back, that fire, that we feel empowered, that like I said, there are things that we cannot change that are happening in our world, but in spite of them, we have to figure out how can we move forward. We got to keep that needle moving forward. And this is the forum that we want to be able to provide that opportunity for you to tap in to a higher vibration, have some fun. Everything's not heavy, but everything is important. It's a part of our lives. And we want to be able to share that with you and open up that space. So I invite you to continue to stay tuned. We're in production now with a lot of those conversations, and we'll be presenting that to you. Check it out on my YouTube channel, Sandra Dubose. You'll be hearing a lot more of Terence Staten and his wisdom and his great personality and perspective. There will be some topics that are just for men only, the man cave conversation, because as a Black man in this world, there's so much that we need to discuss. We need to hear their hearts. We need to find out what's on their minds, and we need to give them a space where they can share what's really going on inside. So, Terence, thank you for sharing with us today, for agreeing to partner with me as co-hosting on this journey to bring this great level of conversation to our audience. Any last words from you, Terence?
Well, I would say, Sandra, again, ladies and gentlemen, you're in for a treat this
Yeah.
year. Thank your lucky stars that Sandra had an opportunity just to stay still and listen.
Yeah.
And because of that, she's going to have some amazing topics for you that's going to help you develop and grow. And as she said, going into a new year, raising your higher level of vibration. So
Yes.
I'm very excited to be on the show. I can't wait to our next segment.
Yes.
And hey, happy holidays to everyone. May you have peace and blessing
Hmm.
with you and your family. So
Amen.
take care.
Yes, indeed. I echo that. Have yourself a merry little Christmas.
Christmas. Look, I can't sing,
That's
so
okay. Come on in anyway. Let your heart be light from
Merry,
now
Merry
on.
Christmas.
Our troubles will be out of sight. Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year.
Yes.
Stay connected to this podcast. More great things in store. We are journeying through this life together. So, thank you for listening to the Urban Parle Podcast. I am your host, and this is my co host, Terence
Terence
Staten.
Staten.
That's right. And we will be back with more really soon. We love you, and we look forward to rocking out 2022 with you in a big way. Big growth, big love, and big everything. All right.
Mm,
All right. We'll see you
Stay
next.
classy, my friends.
Stay classy. We'll see you soon. Peace.